Alrighty, so anyway, now you have this. If you get the opportunity, put this under a stack of books because that will actually press it down so that it will stay together. Over time, it will definitely stay together a little bit better. So now what you're going to do, you have your completed cover and back, and you have your whole middle. You also have a piece, 33-inch piece of ribbon in your kit. Now, I personally like this kind of an end. Not sure what that's called, but I really like that look. And just to give you an idea on how to do that a little bit easier, fold your ribbon in half, like that. Take your scissors, cut at an angle with your point on the inside, and when you open it, you get one of those. Okay? Looks like a dragon's tongue. By the way, I definitely do not promote products for anybody, but these Tim Holtz scissors are awesome for cutting ribbon. I don't know if you've ever used them before, but they are actually made by Tonic. They're a serrated edge, and cutting ribbon is like butter with those scissors. I really, really like them. So now what we're going to do is take one of these, if you have a favorite or whatever, this is going to be your back of the book. Okay, the back of the book. What we want to do is we want to actually put the ribbon between the book and your piece that opens, okay? Now what's going to happen is this is going to end up going like this when you put your book together. But I want this ribbon to be connected to the back, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. On the back here, I am actually going to put adhesive clear across the middle of the back. If you don't have a tape runner or whatever, you can use any adhesive that you would like. This happens to be red line tape. Red line tape is awesome tape if you want something to stick really, really well, okay? This you can actually make jewelry out of. I know my one girlfriend owns a hair replacement studio, and she actually uses red line tape for the wigs, which I find unbelievable. But you could use a piece of red line tape right down the middle here. What happens is it's a double sticky tape. It has a liner on the top here. I know it looks red, but in reality it's not red. It's really clear. The liner is red. So after you pick up that liner, it's sticky on both sides. You could use that here. Alrighty, so I am going to take my ribbon and about the center, you don't have to be absolutely perfect, but about the center, I want to be about the center on the back here. Now I am eyeballing this to be in the center this way. You could measure it. I'm really big on measuring, but in this particular case it doesn't matter at all. But you do want to pay attention to how you put your ribbon down, because what's going to happen is the ribbon is going to come around the front of the book. Alright? So you want to make sure that the pattern side of the ribbon is that direction. In other words, sticking out. Okay? So now it is actually stuck to this piece, and what I want to do at this point is take my adhesive and put it on the back of this book. Now I am putting it around the four edges fairly close to the edge. Alright? And now I'm actually going to make an X in the middle because I want this to adhere. So I have the adhesive pretty much along the edge of this. I don't want it too far in because then your book is going to flap around. Okay, so at this point, you're going to look on the base piece. You are going to center it the best that you can. Okay, so you have an equal amount of board around the outside. Stick it down nice. Press it down. Okay, and voila. You have one side done. Okay, now this is important. You might say, well, I'll put the adhesive on the actual chipboard right before putting this down. But you don't want to do that because there's more chipboard than there is center of the book. So if I were to put adhesive down around this outside, it would be very messy because now I have nothing to stick to the adhesive. So in other words, you want to put your adhesive on the book itself. Again, as close to the edge as you can get. Okay, without going over the edge. You can always add a little more if you'd like. That way, once your book is together, you know it's pretty well together. Now at this point, you want to decide which you want up and down. I think I like this for the cover. You want to, the best that you can, line it up with the bottom. Okay, so that it's even all the way around. Look! We have our book. How great is that? All right, so now what's going to happen is you are going to tie this in a bow. Okay, now be careful here. Again, your ribbon, you want to make sure that your ribbon shows with the pattern side on top. So you just kind of want to manipulate it a little bit so that it comes out looking exactly how you would like. And of course mine is messy, but see, it's messy, but that's all right, we're opening it again anyway. So basically that's the end of your book. However, now we have the opportunity to decorate the whole inside. So let's move on to that. Now comes the fun part in putting your book together. I can't really put your book together for you, and you have your stuff and I have my stuff, but I can definitely tell you how I put my book together and give you some helpful hints. In addition, I want to show you some of the things that you have in the kit. Now, your kit is a little bit different from this, but I always try to put a big variety of embellishments in there. So, some of the things that you have in there are letters, okay? I really happen to be very big on letters, but you have a lot of different kind of letters. This is actually a letter, it's on foam, it's the letter R. There's a scrapbook tile and a small scrapbook tile, like this. Different kind of letters. I think that journaling is very important in, or adding like a poem or something like that. And if you start out with a letter like this or a sticker, and then add your own writing to it, I think that that makes it very special. So you have other things like a car key, a lot of different kind of papers. If you ever have a piece of paper that has like a word on it, that's kind of cool. There's a couple different quote type things in here. This is an embossed piece of paper, different kind of flowers and whatever. Let's see. This is kind of cool. It's like a plastic thing, and you can either put fibers through it or use it as a stencil, something like that. Some kind of neat mesh. Now this is something called magic mesh. You would buy it in the store as magic mesh. And this happens to be a very cheap version of that because I bought it at Home Depot. It is drywall tape, and it's sticky on one side, so you can kind of stick it, and then it's like a post-it note. You can stick it over and over to different things. I've never really seen it lose its stickiness, but it's kind of nice. And what you can do with this, if you want to make it colored, is take an ink pad, and I would recommend wearing gloves because it's very messy. But you just kind of stick it in your ink pad, and then it will become a different color, like red. So that is in the kit. In addition, this is something very similar. This is called Dottie Ann, or in the store it would be called Dottie Ann. In Home Depot it's called drywall tape. This is paper, where this is kind of rubberized. This is a paper product. If you pull off the back, it's got sticky on the back. This part you throw out. You can either use it as a stencil or you can actually use it in your project itself. What I did here was I took a sponge and I took some ink, let's see, on the back of a piece of paper. So all I'm doing is putting ink on my sponge and then using this as a stencil. And so I end up with a cool design on my paper, and I also end up with nice ink on my piece itself that I can use as an embellishment. I could stamp something on this. I could take a rubber stamp and stamp something in black and then maybe punch it out. Whatever, I can use that as an embellishment. So this is a piece of cork. Cork is kind of nice. You can also stamp on that or cut it out or punch it out or anything like that. So in addition, you have a few different kind of clips in here, like that. So different things to play with. One of the types of paper that I wanted to mention was I added some triangle shape papers. You might want to cut some of those also. And it's kind of nice because that would go on the page like that. I also, there might be a piece of vellum in there that, you know, you can do the same type thing. So you can use that in your album. Now, a stipple brush. I just want to mention this very quickly. A stipple brush is really nice if you want to take the whiteness out of something. I don't like it when things are white, you know. So, what I like to do is use a stipple brush, and what you would do is open up any ink, dab in your ink, and then you kind of just put it down on your paper like so, and now your white is green. Okay, and you can make it as dark or as light as you want. And as far as cleaning your stipple brush, you would just kind of rub it on a piece of paper, and that's as clean as it gets. And then just use it in a different color. The color doesn't usually transfer over. So I would recommend using a stipple brush. Now, just to show you some of the things that I did in my book, one of the things I used was decorative scissors. Decorative scissors come in lots of different shapes and sizes, and they're always very interesting. I happen to think that this one is especially cool because it's Mickey Mouse ears, and I happen to love Mickey Mouse, so that's kind of interesting. Different kind of inks I used, different rubber stamps and stamping in here. What I started out by doing was just plain adding ink to all of my pages. Now remember that you want to do both sides because you're going to see both sides. So I started out just by taking different ink pads and just kind of dab on my book and closing it up and taking a different color, okay, and just adding different inks to the book itself. I started out that way, and then I used different rubber stamps that I had. Now, if you ever saw my room, you would see that I have lots of rubber stamps, but this is just a very small variety that I decided to use in the book. And to show you some examples, I stamped play and dream and great attitude. Here I actually wrote on cork. I wanted to show you that here I took a picture. This is at the crease. I took a picture and actually creased it along with that crease, and that worked out fine. You just want to make sure that you make it really crisp. This, on the other hand, I took pictures and I cut them using decorative scissors to avoid the crease. So just to show you a few different examples. On this, I actually took a picture and tore it. And around the outside, I added embossing powder and then I embossed it. And then I used some die cuts, and like on here, I folded the paper over the picture just to give it a different kind of a look. And on this picture, I don't think you can see it, but around the edge are my Mickey Mouse ears. I used that to cut that picture out. So that gives you an idea of what I did. It's a very fun and personal kind of project, so I hope that you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I will look forward to the next time seeing you. Thanks very much. Bye.